Hello, everyone. Hulk Hogan, born Terry Jean Bollea, wasn't just the face of professional wrestling. He was the embodiment of 1980s American heroism, the muscle-bound, mustached icon who told kids to eat their vitamins, say their prayers, and believe in themselves. But behind the red and yellow bandanas, the booming brothers, and the media-friendly smile, Hulk Hogan was living a double life so complex and contradictory that it could only have existed in the blurred line between show business and reality. To the world, he was the ultimate good guy, a man of integrity who preached family values and clean living. But off camera, his real life was marked by excess, infidelity, paranoia, manipulation, and a series of personal and professional choices that would eventually explode into one of the most shocking scandals in entertainment history. Hogan's double life began to take shape in the early 1980s, when Vince McMahon's World Wrestling Federation transformed wrestling from regional theater into global spectacle. McMahon needed a superhero to lead his revolution, and Hogan, with his charisma, physique, and larger-than-life personality, was perfect. But McMahon didn't just sell a wrestler, he sold a mythology. The Hulk Hogan character wasn't a role. It became a 24/7 identity. Every interview, every charity event, every talk show appearance demanded Hogan to be on, radiating the same moral energy he did in the ring. Yet off the stage, Terry Bollea was something else entirely. Away from the cameras, he was insecure about aging, obsessed with maintaining his image, and increasingly addicted to the fame that the Hulk persona brought him. Steroid use, which Hogan later admitted to in court, was rampant, not just for performance, but to maintain the illusion of being superhuman. Behind closed doors, his marriage to Linda Hogan was crumbling under the pressure of constant travel, tabloid exposure, and Hogan's own infidelities, many of which would later be exposed in the infamous sex tape that nearly destroyed his life. The irony is that the very machine that made him untouchable also protected him from the consequences for years. In the wrestling business, kayfabe, the unwritten rule that wrestlers must protect the illusion of their characters, bled into reality. Promoters, journalists, and even law enforcement often turned a blind eye to Hogan's personal conduct, because to destroy Hulk Hogan's image was to destroy millions in merchandising, ticket sales, and TV ratings. He was the golden goose, and everyone had a reason to keep the truth quiet. When the steroid scandal broke in the early 1990s, Hogan was caught lying on national television, claiming he'd only used steroids for rehabilitation purposes. But even then, fans forgave him, because by then, they didn't see Terry Bollea. They saw Hulk Hogan. He had become his own shield. But that dual identity came at a cost. By the late 90s, Hogan's wholesome image no longer fit the new, edgier tone of professional wrestling. In WCW, he reinvented himself as Hollywood Hogan, the villainous leader of the New World Order. And though fans loved the heel turn, it was also a psychological reflection of what Hogan had become. A man tired of pretending to be the hero. His life outside the ring mirrored that transformation. Business deals gone wrong, backstabbing friends, and an ego inflated by decades of fame. Yet somehow, he kept surviving. When the WWE brought him back in the 2000s, nostalgia erased memory. Fans cheered like it was 1985 again. But the illusion shattered in 2015 when a secretly recorded sex tape surfaced, complete with racist comments that destroyed his reputation overnight. The tape wasn't just a scandal, it was the final unmasking of Terry Bollea, the man behind Hulk Hogan. It exposed everything he'd worked so hard to keep separate: his private insecurities, his flawed humanity, and the rot beneath the golden hero facade. Yet even then, Hogan managed to turn his downfall into a form of redemption. His $140 million lawsuit against Gawker Media, which published the tape, wasn't just a legal battle, it was a last stand for control over his image. He argued successfully that the tape violated his privacy as Terry Bollea, not Hulk Hogan. In other words, he used the same split identity that had once enslaved him to win his freedom. It was both genius and tragic. The persona that had consumed him became his legal defense. And somehow, once again, he walked away a winner. But the question remains, how did he get away with it for so long? The answer lies in the culture of celebrity itself. Hogan's double life thrived because fans wanted to believe in Hulk Hogan more than they wanted to know Terry Bollea. The industry rewarded illusion, not truth. And Hogan, the ultimate showman, gave them what they wanted. Every betrayal, every lie was overshadowed by nostalgia for the man who slammed Andre the Giant and told us to train, say your prayers, and eat your vitamins. In that sense, Hogan didn't just live a double life. He lived in a double reality, one where morality was performative and forgiveness was automatic. His story is both a cautionary tale and a study in human psychology, how identity can become a prison, how fame can distort truth, and how the audience, not the performer, often decides what reality to believe. Today, Hogan lives a quieter life, occasionally appearing at conventions and podcasts, still smiling, still saying brother, as if the Hulkster never left. But those who look closer see the man who spent decades wrestling with himself, a living paradox who blurred the line between truth and fiction so thoroughly that even he might not know where one ends and the other begins. The double life of Hulk Hogan wasn't a secret, it was a performance. And as long as there's an audience willing to cheer, the act never really ends. Thanks for watching.